I know this is going to sound absolutely insane, but there is a disclaimer for this episode. This is not me trying to make someone's victory about me. This is a series of events and the words of a friend that made me realize something about myself and where I currently am in life. Welcome to the Simply Jamilah podcast. Oh, I need to take my glasses off because the reflection glare thing just messes me up every time as far as when I go edit. It's worth being blind for just a few minutes. Anyway, hi, my name is Jamilah. If you are watching this podcast, hello. If you're listening to this podcast, hello. And if you are listening, you are not going to understand my next statement. But for viewers, bro, I'm so happy about these earrings. I am in my Empyrean series bag right now. I made a video on my YouTube channel where I went to New York, and these earrings are what I got. For those of you who are listening without the visual, they are basically the wings of Indarna and Taryn, Violet's dragons that she bonded with. So the left earring is Indarna's wings, and then the right earring is Taryn's, and they're asymmetrical. And obviously, because Taryn is a bigger dragon, it's a bigger earring. I absolutely love it. Also, if you are a viewer, I did get my hair done, and I do look like a potato. It is what it is. I'm in my Onyx Storm bag, and I know this has literally nothing to do with this episode, but I just have to talk about it for a second. Do you ever get frustrated? So basically, I only keep books that I like, right? So I have Fourth Wing. I loved Fourth Wing. I did not like Iron Flame, and therefore I got rid of it. However, I'm really liking Onyx Storm, but it feels wrong to keep the third and the first book and then not have the second book, to have that gap missing. So please share your thoughts and opinions, and please give me advice. Should I just get rid of the third book because I don't have the second one and it might not make sense, but I know what's in the second one because it was a whole lot of nothing, to be honest? Or what should I do? Get rid of it, hold on to it, I don't know, but I'm really, really liking Onyx Storm, hence the dragon earrings, and I'm just eating it up. Anywho, that is my tangent to get us started. Like I said, my name is Jamilah, and I'm happy to be here. This is my podcast, and yeah, that's it, actually. So I don't know why I said my name again. Anywho, before I talk about the main subject of any episode, I like to share a weekly win. So let's do that. Okay, so honestly, I'm going to be very real with you. If you've never listened to my podcast before or you forgot, I am born and raised, unfortunately, from Tennessee. And if you've been paying attention to the news, Tennessee is in the hot seat right now. And I'm so, embarrassed to be a Tennessean. I'm not going to hold you. And let me just say, I have a full, episode planned for whenever I leave North Carolina to basically be Tennessee versus North Carolina. And because there's a lot wrong with, and I think every state has its imperfections 100%, but there's a lot wrong with North Carolina, especially education system wise, which I've talked about several times before. And it's really hard because I actually like Tennessee's education system. At least when I was in high school, it made sense. The way things operated made sense. You had to pass driver's ed to graduate. We had a class that was ACT prep. Where I currently work, a lot of the kids had no idea what the ACT was. They just knew that they had to show up and take it. And these are kids who want to go to college. So you can't prep them for college and they not know what this test is, because if their GPA isn't the best, then they could at least have their ACT scores to back them up. But if they don't know what the ACT is, it just was it's a very upsetting situation. I don't want to get into it too much, but I often get asked, am I moving back to Tennessee? And I will forever say no, unless, my grandparents refuse to move somewhere else for someone to take care of them, or they have no one else to take care of them. That is literally the only stipulation, to be honest. But I like the structure of the Tennessee education system. Literally this upcoming Saturday, I'm going to my brother's graduation. More on that later. All of it just makes sense. And the fact that He graduates this upcoming Saturday, and literally last week he had his prom. Like, to have all of the big senior events close to each other just makes sense. Instead, where I currently am, prom is in like early April and they graduate mid-June. Like, by prom, they're checked out. So it just makes sense to have them close together. However, that's probably the only reason I would move back to Tennessee is for that. But I won't, because the politics are so bad. There is no point in being black in Tennessee. There's not. As we saw, I mean, they like just destroyed the only black district that Tennessee had in regards to voting. And why would I want to go back to that? Why would I want to go back to a heavily gerrymandered state? I said all that to say I do actually have good news, because I mean, in the midst of all of that, and in the midst of Tennessee being everywhere, and I think I don't know who it was, but someone is suing Tennessee for the legislation that gets rid of that singular black district. But there's been good news. Okay, this past weekend was a very big weekend. Yeah, it was Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day. But it was also like grad season for a lot of people. And everywhere I looked I don't use a lot of social media, so mainly Threads and Instagram. But then there's a lot of people in my personal life who graduated. So the good news, the weekly one that I have, is just the amount of black women who just graduated, whether it's with their associates, their bachelors, their masters, their doctorate. I mean, they, against all odds, against the current political climate and everything that we face on the daily, they graduated from college in some way, shape, or form. And I mean, there's tons of black women. And I'm so happy for them, and I'm so excited for them. And I think we needed this win. I think it shows not even just little girls, but even like, I work with high school kids. It shows that, like right next to me, bro. I think it just shows like I don't say the younger generation, but just like, I mean, I work with high school kids, but also like it shows like the little elementary kids, like it is possible, and like, don't give up, like keep going, like persevere. Like if there's something you want, if there's a career that you want, like freaking go for it. And I'm just really happy with what we've been handed the past several years, and honestly, for the past forever, it feels like, but definitely the past several years. It's very reassuring and inspiring to see so many black women go after what they want educationally and career-wise and get it. The amount of like doctors that I saw, amazed. So big congratulations again to every stranger that I do not know who graduated this past weekend. Speaking of graduation, last night was a dream, and it's not even my dream, is that the right word, or like my story to tell? I don't know, but I attended my friend's graduation from a local like entrepreneurship course that she was doing. So I'm going to do my best to explain it, but I might not do well. Basically, our local chamber, they hold like this like business readiness entrepreneurship course, and you go through like really the process of building a business, and you create a business plan, and like you do many things. And it was like one day a week for a couple of hours. She would go to the classes, and she would like have homework and like different assignments she had to do. So it was like genuinely like an entrepreneurship course. She paid a small fee to do this, but at the end of it, there was a like cash prize for your business. So you had to like pitch yourself, and if you had the best pitch, then you won the cash prize. And it was really beautiful. Speaking of women, it was really beautiful because this cohort was all women. She kept saying that there might have been like one guy, but then he kind of like looked around, saw that it was just mostly women, and so he like dropped, and like, period. So last night was her graduation, and I went. They upped the cash prize by a lot. Originally it was just $1,000, and then it went up a lot. And I'm really happy that they surprised everyone with that, because at the end of the day, even though there was a first, second, and third place person, it ensured that like all the graduates went home with something. And I think that's really like sweet and awesome. So thank you to the local bank for doing that. It made my heart happy because everyone got blessed, even if they didn't come first, second, or third. So this is how the evening went. So I'm going to have to give everyone like letters basically. So there's me and then my friend's best friend. Her name's A. Not any association with Pretty Little Liars. Oh my goodness. But her name's A. So I was like panicking. I hate being late to significant events for other people. I can be late to work. At this point, I don't care. Now, beforehand, like if you caught me last semester late to work, I would start crying. I used to go to work like an hour and a half before I was supposed to. We don't do that anymore. We've learned, we grew, we sleep in. Okay. I still make sure that I am at least on time for like life events regarding my friends. I'm still working on being on time for church. I'm not going to hold you. I don't know why in my head church starts at 11 and it really starts at 10. So low key, I'd be trying to get there at 11 and my brain, my body, like I get there and they're either like finishing the sermon or way past the sermon and doing the announcements. I don't know what that's about. We're still working on that as far as, and I used to be pretty good about it. And I honestly, now that I'm saying it out loud, I think it's because the church that I go to in Tennessee starts at like 11:15. So in my head, if I aim to be at church at 11, then I'm not late. I don't know what, that was not the point of this at all. But anywho, so I felt bad because, again, trying to get on time for my friend's life event, it started at 6, and I got there at like 6:02. Fortunately, they were waiting on some other man, and it started late because of him. So low-key, I was on time, in theory. But I walked in, and I saw my friend's best friend, A, and it was just me and her at first. So we walked in together. The program went past 8 p.m. I'm gonna tell you that. It definitely went past 8 p.m., which is when it was allotted to end. But it started with like welcome speeches and low key, high key. I'm not even gonna hold you. I was definitely not locked in because I am becoming friends with A. And there was a council meeting in another county that was very important to her. So, and this might sound really, really bad, but because this council meeting was happening like at the same time as these welcome speeches, we both had an earbud in and we were listening to the welcome speeches and what was happening with the council meeting. And I learned a lot about myself that day. It's the fact that I can definitely do both. I was like, wait a minute. I totally understand what she's saying in this welcome speech and like all these other people that are coming up. But then I am like being flabbergasted by what the like community is saying in this like council meeting. Like it was amazing to learn that I had that skill set because I didn't think that I could, considering I will never forget I fell in the trash can chewing gum and walking. Like I wasn't even texting. I was chewing gum and I was walking and I fell into a trash can. So I just kind of assumed that when it comes to having to lock in on doing multiple things, like basic skill sets at the same time, I was like, you know, in my head, I'm like, oh, I can't do it, which is crazy because at work, I can 100% multitask. Like I be when the kids come up to the window in this like part of the building that I work in and they ask questions and there's like multiple kids and I'm like working on something, but then I'm helping a parent with something else. Like I somehow managed to just lock in and do it all. And I think it's amazing. But then take me out of my work environment and it's a struggle bus, right? Because again, fell in the trash can. The way the program went, we had those welcome speeches and then it was time to get food. The food came from a local Italian restaurant. It was so good. It was so good. Oh my goodness. I mean, there was oil all over that Alfredo, but like I ate it up. I was very nervous because my friend was like, they're going to have dinner. And I'm sitting here like, bro, if it's just chicken, like just, I'm going to walk out and then come back. But at least walk out the first time to make a point. However, it was more than just chicken. Honestly, the salad was really amazing. Italian food is like the way to my soul, honestly. And it was so good. It was so good. This particular place is known for their pizza, I think. And I've had pizza from there before. And it was really, really good. I did not know they did pasta, though. So, heck yeah, I will go to this place for pasta. But we got lucky that it was time for the food because we could finish listening to the council meeting. So that ended before things like really, really, you know, I don't want to say became intense necessarily, but before it was like time for us to really pay attention, basically. And because me and A were the only ones there initially, we ended up sitting at a table closer to the front of the stage with our friend. And that was, I felt a little nerve wracking because, side tangent, basically, my friend is a part of a family that I have become friends. I've become friends with the entire family, and I love them to pieces. And it's a battle that I am fighting, and I don't know if I've talked about it before, but basically, I'm fighting. It feels like sometimes it feels like I am a part of their family, but most of the time it doesn't. And I am often having to remind myself, like, I am not, in the sense that, like, this is gonna sound so bad, and I'm not meaning it for it to sound bad, but there's moments when it's like I kind of need support, and even though I know that they're there, they're not actually there, because blood family comes before like brought in family, if that makes sense. And this isn't meant to like, sound bad or anything like that, but I'm very aware that I'm not a stranger anymore, but I am kind of like passing in the wind. And so, like I said, sometimes it feels like I'm a part of the family. Like when things happen and I get called, it's like, oh my goodness, like I'm remembered. You know what I mean? But when things happen and I don't get called, or just even when I need support and, don't get, no one answers the phone, it's those moments when I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not a part of this family. And it doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't make me like wish that I had my family around or anything. It's just kind of like, okay, it is what it is. And we're going to go find somewhere. We're going to figure out whatever it is that I'm dealing with. And we're going to cope. And it's fine. So with that thought process in mind, I felt weird about sitting at this table up front with her, because in my brain, I'm like, no, like her family's coming. It ain't me, Chief. A was going to sit up there, and A is not a part of the family either. And she kind of like looked at me and was like, come on. And I was like, okay, well, since you're going, I guess I'll go too. So, and it was fine because it was nice to have a table to like eat the pasta on and like set everything down. And I met the people around me who were very interesting, to say the very least. But overall, we did it. I walked up to a table and I sat at it. I was nervous too, just being by the stage. Like, I don't like being up front. I make facial expressions. Like I just have such reactionary behavior that like when some people were speaking, my face was just like, I don't know what it was doing. So, and I don't know, I'm a Gemini, so like my reactions are big. Do you know what I mean? So there was a lot of reasons as to why I was nervous to sit up front, but again, happy that I did it. So once everyone had their food, and I think she was like the director of the chamber, question mark, she ate. After she ate, it was time for the pitches. So all of the women had 5 minutes to pitch their business to a panel of judges. And my friend, she went fourth, I think, but all of them had amazing ideas. I do feel like, which I have no business critiquing anything because I don't know much besides the like marketing course I took for 3 years in high school, and that's truly it. I remember the 4 P's of marketing and like the basic layout of a business plan. That's about as far as we got. So I have no reason or no like credentials to critique anyone. But I do feel like some people, like, they really needed to flesh out what they were saying. And I think 5 minutes snuck up on some people pretty fast. Some people did absolutely amazing, like ate them up as far as like having all of the statistics, logistics, everything that was needed to support their business. They did fantastic. There was one that I honestly like loved. It was basically a wine corporation, but she makes her wine out of anything but grapes. So she had a sample. It's in my fridge. I'm so excited to drink it. It's a hibiscus wine. I'm about to tear it up. Not right now because I do have to go to work after this, but I'm excited for when my time comes to tear it up. So just awesome, really cool ideas. There was one that I in theory, I loved it, but I don't feel like she had enough time to really explain herself. And the way it was being explained made it sound better than like what it was. It was basically a bookstore, and she kept saying that it would be like opened like later hours. And in my head, I'm like, oh, 10, 11 p.m. No, she was saying that like moms like to be in bed by 9, so it's going to close at 9. And I was like, no, you had me until you said that. because she said like evening hours, downtown, all the vibes. And I'm like, okay. But then her evening hours were like noon to 6 and noon to 9 or something like that. And I was like, no, that's not really evening hours. I feel like it would be so cool if it was like 2 to 11 or something. Like really setting the vibe for like late night reading, a cozy spot. I don't know. It was just such a good like foundation of an idea that I just had wished it was fleshed out so much more, but it's fine. I don't know why I just covered my eye like it was going to make me cry, but that was really a good idea. There was a plus size fashion business, and it was inspired by her daughter. That was beautiful. I mean, just like so many great ideas, and it was nice to like hear them all. There was a moment, and this was me being stupid. There was a moment of technology issue, and I was like, say less. That means I can go get more Alfredo. Imagine if I had used my brain and waited, because after all of the pitches were said and everything, then it was kind of like a free period to just walk around and talk to everyone. And that's when I could have gotten my extra serving of Alfredo. Instead, I just wandered around while the judges deliberated, and low-key, I don't remember what I did. I don't remember who I talked to be honest. I just know I was sitting there like, dang, I really could have just waited to get that Alfredo, and my stomach probably wouldn't have hurt. Although I am experiencing a health issue that we don't know about yet, so that could have also been why my stomach was hurting, but that we'll save for another time. So the judges deliberated for a minute. Like, it took a minute, which I think contributed to the program going past 8 p.m. And part of the judging panel was the guy who made us start late anyway. So towards the end of the deliberation period, it was time for graduation, which was so beautiful. Everyone got like really nice plaques. Like, wow, high quality plaques. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And it was crazy because I knew the girl who was handing them the plaques. But I think it's one of those things where you know people virtually. So, like, we follow each other on Instagram, and that's it. We were in a book club together. I think I've talked about it, where I was, like, in a community book club, and then I stopped going because they started charging $10 every month. So, no. I'm not going to continue the book club. But it was fun while it lasted when it was free. And I understand why she's charging, because she has really blown this sucker up. I mean, we go to a different, well, I said we. I don't go there anymore. I'm not a part of it, but like they go to a different restaurant every meeting, and there's like a patchwork person there that like adds patches associated with the book on a little tote bag. There's different vendors. Like, it really has become more than a book club. So I 100% get it, and I understand the $10 charge per person, but like $10, 12 months a year, that's $120. And I am not rich enough to be able to do that. Anywho, graduation happens, and then it's time. Time for them to surprise everyone by saying that everyone goes home with cash, and then they announce the top 3 winners. My girl with the wine that's made out of anything but grapes did take home some money. She came in third, and I was very excited. But guess who came in first? My friend. My friend. I guess we'll give her the letter D. She came in first place, and I like chills, because so much had happened leading up to this moment, and it just feels so good. It feels so good to watch your friend win, and all the hard work. I mean, everything. Amazing. And her presentation was fantastic, but she came in first place, and it was like, I don't know, it's like watching your kid, even though she's definitely not my kid, but it was like that celebratory moment of like when your kid gets the perfect attendance award, like you knew everything leading up to ensuring that your kid had perfect attendance, and then they finally get the award, and you're like, yes. It was the same energy. It felt like it, I mean, way bigger, on a bigger scale, because I mean, she was taking home money to fund her business that she kind of has already started. So very excited about that. I mean, my heart like soared. I'm so proud. I'm still so proud. That's why I was like, I got home last night, I wrote down the notes for this podcast, and then I was like, we're going to record in the morning while I'm sitting on this high. It's not even my victory, but it's just like, I love watching my friends win. It's amazing because they deserve it. And especially when you see the journey to get there, it's like, yeah, like you need to be up here right now. And it just felt so good. I it felt like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just amazing. Like, my heart was beating fast afterwards, and it just was awesome. So I'm grateful to the I'm grateful to the judging panel, but I'm sure she's like experiencing all the emotions, and I'm so excited to see where she takes the prize and this business and just like really influences the community. I'm so happy for her. So we're sitting on this high. We're happy after this joyous event, after, witnessing a very necessary and big win. Like, we're just happy and doing all the things. And then my friend's sister, and once again, I'm friends with the whole family. So my friend's sister is also my friend, Im. She said something that got me thinking. She said, I've never seen so much joy from you than when she was announced the winner. And I paused. I paused. On the drive home, that played on repeat in my brain. And I was kind of fighting tears, to be honest, because it was like, whoa. And I think what really got me is that, hello, girl. Did I say the word tears and activate something? Hello. Okay. So it aligned with something that I heard while I was in New York. So while I was in New York, I did something interesting. And again, I made a YouTube video about my trip to New York and talk a lot more about this there. But I basically did an aura reading. I kept seeing this thing called, I think it's Love Letter NYC. And I was just so like curious. I was like, what is this? And I watched one Instagram reel, and it was enough for me to be like, yeah, like, let's do this. Let's get our aura read. And it was incredibly accurate in many ways. And there was a few things that really got to me thinking, and it aligned with what she told me about, this joy that I was experiencing for my friend. The aura reading basically said that I give more compassion and more of like my tranquility and my heart to others than I do to myself. When Im said that she had seen so much joy for me from my friend being announced, that's what I immediately like thought of, was like, and there's nothing wrong with being happy for my friends, absolutely not. But it just made me think about the fact it was like such a clear example of like me giving so much of that heart and compassion to everyone else. But I don't have it for myself, or at least, I don't know. I'm trying to. Lots of my coworkers recently have like commented that I like look happier, more at ease. And honestly, and I'm truly meant it when I was like, I'm done talking about the work stuff, but this is very like relevant. I'm not at ease. I'm literally just numb. Like, I just go in, clock in, and pray for a paycheck, basically. Like, that's where we're at. It's the end of the year. It's the end of the school year, basically. And I'm just trying to get out, to be honest. I'm trying to get out. And like, with that, I mean, cool, they think that I'm at ease or whatever, but my actual like at ease and my tranquility comes at home. It definitely, as soon as I leave the building, that's when I'm calm again. That's when I feel like I can breathe and I can be like, not necessarily be nice to myself, because I just feel like I'm at a point where there's a lot of negativity towards me specifically in the building. So I get reminded of how awesome I am, but I have to like leave the building first. But even with that, I experienced some element of sorrow. So when she said that she had never seen me like with so much joy, it made me realize, yes, I give a lot of myself to others, but also in doing that, I am sitting in a subtle sorrow. And it took me aback. It took me back. It's like, wait a minute. Because life is life, right? Like, it's going to do what it does. Every day is not perfect unless you spend the entire day sleeping. And even then, I mean, at least for me, if I do that, I'm like, dang, I could have done this, and that. And I didn't give my body proper nutritions. No, I didn't give my body proper nutrients. Like, I don't know, life, it's a thing that we're simply trying to survive every day, especially in America in this current political climate. But I feel like I'm always going through some sort of like intensely bad thing. And I know that, or at least I believe that on the other side of something really bad is something really good, right? I feel like I have been sitting in the waiting zone of really good for quite a few years now. And because of that, I've just been sitting in a subtle sorrow, and I just haven't been happy for myself, if that makes sense. And not being happy for myself is different from gratitude. I wake up every morning super grateful. I'm a Christian, I pray, and every prayer is I'm thankful and I'm grateful because I have a roof over my head. I have a dog who's alive. I have plants that are thriving. I do need to feed my fish, but I have a fish who is still alive. I have clothes on my back, and I have food in my fridge, and I have the ability to cook. I can use both arms, I can use both legs. My eyes are decent. Granted, I do have to go to the eye doctor for my prescription, and I'm like healthy enough to walk. Healthy enough. So like I wake up grateful, but that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily happy for myself. And I think the reason that I'm not necessarily happy for myself is because something, again, just very intensely bad is always happening, right? This year, or at least the start of this year, it's this job. It is. It's not even the job itself. It's the person I work with, to be quite honest, and that is creating a bad workplace for me. I'm just gonna be very real. And then last year it was homelessness. And then the year prior to that, it was kind of like it kind of goes, not necessarily goes back to the job, but it just goes back to I worked somewhere that I did not want to be. So I was trying to figure it out. Or maybe that wasn't the year before last, but a couple years ago. It was just kind of like figuring out, the next career move and then becoming a teacher. But then I lived like in Raleigh and I was driving too far to be a teacher. And then I had to move. And then I get here and it's like, okay, still don't want to be a teacher. And so then we figure out the job that I like. And then I don't know, I just feel like there's always some bad thing or some like big fight. And I've just been waiting on like that big good thing. And I am doing my best to like keep the faith. But right now, until my big good thing happens, you'll probably catch like the most genuine joy for me when my friends win. Because it's easier for me to be happy and joyful for them because, like I said, life is life. We're all going through it. But I feel like their wins are coming. And I am sitting in just kind of like this gray area of like, I know it's coming, but it hasn't happened yet. And I'm fighting for my life to tell myself I'm a good person who's just experiencing bad things and bad people. And it's a little hard. So that was like kind of the realization that I had when Im said that she had never seen me so joyful than when her sister was announced the winner. And it still is just one of the coolest like things I had ever experienced. Like I'm very truly excited. But then afterwards it like made me think, and then on the drive home I was like, "Oh my goodness, like this is what, I don't even remember her name, but this is what the lady meant at the Aura experience as far as like me giving more heart and compassion than I like take in or give to myself." I think I just assumed no one noticed because I've spent so much of my childhood just kind of invisible. And like even last night, I was trying to sit in the corner. I was trying to be invisible. I was trying to basically be the silent supporter in the back. And she forced me forward, which is great. I think I really needed that. I needed to kind of be out of the dark corner, get out of the, what am I trying to say? Become visible, I guess. And like even then, Sunday was Mother's Day and they fed us at church and I was doing everything I could to basically just be invisible. Now that I'm like really thinking about this, it's coming out and just excuse the word vomit, but I was doing everything I could to just not be seen. And so I was trying to sit in a corner and I sat in a corner assuming that I wouldn't be seen. And then funnily enough, the friend who texted me was like, "I saw you over there being a socialite." So I'm learning that I'm sitting in the subtlety of sorrow and people are noticing. Yikes. I don't hate my life. I've come so far. I see all these quotes on social media, and it's something that I continuously remember, that this is a life that once upon a time I dreamed of. But there's just little elements that I'm like, oh, this would just make it so much better. AKA being happy when I go into work, which this week I will. Next week, don't get me started. But I feel like I'm also, every time I walk in the building, I'm having to like watch over my shoulder. So that shouldn't be the case when I go into work. That shouldn't be the case at all. So I'm grateful for where I am, but I know that I'm meant to be somewhere else. And I know that there's something bigger and better coming despite everything. I think also, I feel like what is happening politically or in society or even environmentally, it kind of tries to trick you and convince you that these negative things are happening and these are more odds and trials and challenges that you have to win or defeat in order for this good thing to happen. But it's like, despite everything, despite my voting rights being taken from me, despite whatever is happening in politics, there is something good that is going to personally happen to me, and I have to remember that. So it's just kind of a combination of many things, but what triggered it was saying that she had never seen me with so much joy than when her sister was announced, because it showed me that people are paying attention and I'm not hiding as well as I thought I was. And I'm not invisible the way that I was when I was a child, or the way that I assumed that I was when I was a child. It showed me that I really do just give so much to people. I've gotten super far with like prioritizing myself, but that's not the same as like, emotionally giving back to myself. And I have my 75-day challenge that I've been doing that has helped with that, but it's more so helped with feeling the emotions. So I definitely need to kind of like not only feel the emotions, but kind of feel them like towards myself, and just kind of do better with like processing my emotions towards myself, if that even makes sense. And I guess the third thing that I really learned from saying what she said is that I am sitting in a subtle sorrow, and I didn't really realize it until I started like thinking. And I need to figure out, I don't know, how to just continue, how to give the joy that I give to people to myself. Because when she said that, I remember responding like, oh, like it'll probably never happen again. And then she was like, well, what about when I get proposed to? And I said, no, girl, wait, because I will throw up from pure excitement. So it's like so easy for me to have that energy for other people, but for some reason, I just cannot have that energy for myself. And like, even my friend who won the prize, she is a giant hopeless romantic, and she is so convinced that I will get married soon and that I will meet the love of my life soon and all these things. And it's just hard for me to like have that kind of joy and I guess optimism about myself. Now I've worked really, really hard on not bringing pessimism into like relationships, especially friendships, more so friendships than anything. But sometimes I have to like see are we prepared for the next best thing? So like the whole thing with the council meeting, I literally looked at and I was like, so not to be negative, but in the event that this does not go a specific way, what's the plan? And that's not me being negative. That's just me being like, okay, I'm hoping that it works out, but if it doesn't, are we prepared? I guess it's just me being prepared. I don't know what you would call that, but last night was a joyous occasion and it felt good to have so much joy for my friend. And now I just have to work on finding or having that joy for myself. I don't know what the correct thing is there, but it felt really good. And I'm grateful that I witnessed it. I was happy to be there. And then I'm grateful that said something that got me thinking, because not to sound weird, but I love to think and I love to kind of just figure myself out. And it really, truly opened my eyes to the fact that people are paying attention. And I need to remember that. Not at work. People are paying attention at work for sure. I'm not even shocked about that. Like that is what it is. But just like outside of work, like people that I care about. And even though I try to hide all these emotions and hide these thought processes, the people I care about are still looking. and they're still like tuned in and paying attention. And so I have to remember that. That doesn't mean that I necessarily like need to put a mask on, because I'm just not good at that. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I cannot wear a mask for nothing. It doesn't work well. Even during the pandemic, I did my best to wear a mask, but I also have glasses and a big nose. Like, it's just not. I mean, I did it for the sake of everyone else, but it's not easy for me to put a mask on, both like figuratively and literally. So yeah, I think I've said it so much, but I just truly am so excited to see where her business goes now that she has the funding she needs to take it places. I'm so excited, dude. I'm so excited. You know what else I'm excited about? Talking about what I've recently consumed. Okay, well, this first thing isn't necessarily that I'm like excited to talk about it. I just like consumed it. But it is The Great Divide by Noah Kahan, I think is how you say his name. I don't know. All the girlies love him on the internet. And I've listened to every Noah Kahan album. And so it's kind of interesting to me that he's like blown up now. Like, he's like popular. It's like weird to me. I listened to the album. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It just was what it was. My favorite song is Dashboard, and I probably will only ever listen to Dashboard, and that's it. The thing I am excited about is I watched The Devil Wears Prada 2. And I have so many thoughts, and I made a YouTube short, but I couldn't say all my thoughts because you only get 3 minutes in a YouTube short. And I'm going to also try to not be like super long here. But I have so many. There was like, I'm shook. There were so many callbacks to the first movie. It was beautiful all the way down to, and if you know, you know, all the way down to Andy wearing like the blue sweater of the blue like button down. They like revamped it a little bit, made it more 2026, but it was still a callback to the first movie. I mean, there was just so much, and I loved all the little like subtleties. Like, if you had to like really love or watch The Devil Wears Prada to understand the little like Easter eggs basically that were everywhere, and I absolutely loved it. There was a lack of subtlety, I guess you could say, in like literally all of the people in that movie, as far as like random cameos. I mean, you had Ashley Graham, you had John Batiste and his wife, which I did almost, don't ask me why, I almost started crying watching or seeing John Batiste's, I say her name wrong, so I just refer to like her as his wife. I know that's so horrible, and it's like probably anti-feminist or whatever, but like, I just don't want to mess up her name. But seeing her on the screen in this movie for like 30 seconds I was almost brought to tears. And I genuinely, now that I'm like saying it, I'm pretty sure it's because I watched John's documentary and just their journey. Oh my goodness. If you've not seen John's documentary, side note, you need to watch it. John Batiste. I don't remember the name of it, but it is so good. Like, it will break your heart and then put it back together. So seeing her for 30 seconds in this movie, it made me very excited. But then there was also like Carl Anthony Towns. Like, we just have this giant basketball player at Miranda's house. Like, what is happening right now? And then we had, which I did get excited, Wisdom was there for 5 seconds. Maybe not even 5. That's being generous. But, like, Wisdom was on the screen for, like, a bit. Law Roach, which I'm not even shocked. I'm annoyed, but I'm not shocked. And then, like, Amelia from Chicken Shop Date, which was so confusing to me. And it still confuses me. Like, love her. I think she's a really great, journalist isn't the right word. What is it called? Is it journalist when they like ask questions at like different events? Reporter, maybe? It's not a journalist. She's not a journalist. I think she has a journalism degree though. Whatever. She's great at it. She's great at asking questions, and she really does like, I like Chicken Shop Date, but like, what does that have to do with like fashion? And like, I don't know. I didn't understand why she was there. And like, they made a point to show her the same way they made a point. It was all in the same scene with like Wisdom and Law Roach. Like, they made a point to show these three. And I was confused about Amelia. I'm sorry. And I do love her. I was just so confused. Like, there was just so many little cameos, and it was just like, we get it. Multiple people are in this movie that are famous. Like, we get it. I also want to talk about the fact that Julia Michaels was the music supervisor for this movie, and I think that is amazing. And I noticed, unless I'm wrong, I hope I'm not, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, that the soundtrack for this movie is all women. So, period. I am not shocked that Lady Gaga, like, was the, I guess, person tasked with making original music for the movie. One of the songs has Doechii as a feature, and I will say I liked the incorporation of like Lady Gaga in the movie. It made sense. I'm doing my best to not like spoil anything, even though I did just mention Carl Anthony Towns at like Miranda's house, but like that was not even a spoiler. It was just random as heck. But with Lady Gaga, I think the way that they incorporated her into the movie, it made sense, and I wasn't too mad about it. I was just very confused about specific other cameos. I was like, what are we doing here, guys? What's happening? And I'm sure there were other people there. Oh, like freaking Winnie Harlow. Winnie Harlow made a cameo. There was just so many like people, and some of them were definitely models. I just don't know their names, but they made cameos, and I recognized it because you could tell it was a cameo when they made a point to be on that person for like 5 seconds. I was like, okay, like they're here, we get it. Like, let's keep it pushing. Overall, I do like it. The more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more I like it. Currently, the movie started out with End of an Era by Dua Lipa being the song that like Andy gets ready to. That's a spoiler, I guess, but like everyone gets ready in movies, so like is it really a spoiler? I don't know. But that is the song that was chosen to start the movie, and now that song is on repeat, and every time I think about it, I think about the movie, and like I want to go watch it again. Like I actually do want to go watch it again. I fully anticipate doing that at some point, hopefully, because I like really, really liked it. So hopefully I get to watch it again in theaters, because I actually like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wait, between the Easter eggs, and then they like made it so relevant to 2026 that I'm like, wait, like they kind of ate them up. Like they did such a good job of combining that nostalgia, but also current issues that are happening, and like paying homage to the first one. Like it was so well put together. I was nervous and annoyed. I'm not gonna hold you. I get very annoyed when people are like taking pictures and spreading them when they're filming these like movies and filming these shows. Like just go away. Like literally go away. I actually think, what is it? I think The Summer I Turned Pretty, the movie, they started production on it, and they literally had to put a video on Instagram like saying, privacy please. Like, hey, let us film this and leave us alone. And like, duh, please leave them alone. Like, you're taking away the element of surprise. You're honestly taking away anticipation when you like ruin these movies and shows by taking pictures while they're on set. Like, girl, let them lock in and do what they gotta do. Like, leave them alone. I love Anne Hathaway. I really do. But I was so annoyed with like all these videos and photos of her while she was filming the movie just circling the internet. Like, babe, I know you're trying to work. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're disrupting your time. But despite that, it turned out really, really great. And I do think I had low expectations for it because of what was being spread around the internet. And I think that just goes to show to leave people the frick frack jack alone and let them do their job. So yeah. But I really liked it. I think Meryl Streep did a good job getting back in that role. I had to like process that it was Meryl Streep. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but the last thing I've seen her in was Only Murders in the Building, and it's a completely different vibe on that show. So I was like, wait, yeah, hold on. She's not marrying Martin Short here. No. She's not. So it was very interesting. Now, of course, and I hate this, and I'm not going to spoil it too hard, but I am upset because we could have had romance left out of this movie, and we decided not to, but it felt very unnecessary. That's all I'm going to say there, because we literally could have lived without 5 minutes of it, and it would have been a perfectly great film. So, very excited about it. I would be annoyed if they made a third one. I would not be shocked, though, because I think it's doing really good in the box office right now. Like, it was a packed theater when I went, so we shall see. Okay, I got everything I wanted to say, I think, for the most part, of The Devil Wears Prada 2 out off my chest. I almost made this like a whole separate podcast episode just talking about that movie. And if I go see it again in theaters, don't be shocked if that happens. And I will show up with a notepad this time. Like, do not be shocked if it happens. I don't know. I just really liked it. Actually, I can't show up with a notepad because it's dark and I won't be able to see in the dark. And someone will be annoyed by the flashlight. Let me not even do that. But just know I loved it. And like low-key, I've already decided what, because I know they're going to do this. Because people are getting back into, I think they call it like analog media. So people are getting back into DVDs, and they better make a like DVD combo of the first and the second Devil Wears Prada. I will be sat at Walmart ready to buy it. I will be so ready to buy it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Simple Jamilah podcast. I will be in your ear in 2 weeks with a new episode. Yes, I said 2 weeks. We'll have to talk more about it when the time comes, but, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll make it next week. We'll see. If I don't make it next week, I've kind of anticipated not being able to record. Basically, I told myself I wasn't going to go back to Tennessee anymore, and then a plane ticket was bought for me to go to my brother's graduation this weekend, which is great, but I'm going to be there for 36 hours. And then I'm flying back Sunday evening, arriving home late because it's a drive from the airport to my home, and then I have to be up and back working in a place where I don't want to be Monday morning. So I don't know if I'll be in the mood, up for the vibe to record an episode. Honestly, I think it just depends on how the weekend goes with me being surrounded by people who contributed to my childhood trauma over the weekend. So we'll see how that goes. So I might be in your ear next week with a new episode, or I might not. We shall see. Don't hold it against me if I'm not, though. I'm probably just like mentally recovering while working in a place that contributes to my trauma. So with that being said, thank you again for listening, and I will talk to you super, super soon. Bye.